Welcome to another Let's Talk ASPM podcast. I'm Dana Torgerson, VP of Product Marketing here at ArmorCode. And with me, as always, is Mark Lambert, our Chief Product Officer here at ArmorCode. Mark, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Dana. Great to be connecting again and great to be talking about this topic of AI generated code and applications, because I think this is the thing that's at the front of a lot of people's mind as they're trying to embrace innovation in the market.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's discuss the backdrop of this. How did we get here? What's been happening with all of this increase and scale out of people using generative AI? Like I know you and I do, for instance.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fundamentally the same. It's like, why do you and I use, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever other AI-enabled system? We
Yeah.
use it because it increases our productivity, it improves our completeness. We're able to do a lot more thorough job. We're able to ideate quicker. We're able to deliver what we need to be able to deliver quickly. And at the end of the day, that's the root. That's the reason why we've seen this explosion of adoption of AI. And if we were to rewound like a year and a half ago, there was a
Yeah.
lot of trepidation around adoption of AI.
Yeah.
And that trepidation has really gone away as organizations have seen the productivity gains. Even here at ArmorCode, we're leveraging Claude Code. We've been leveraging Windsurf, 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie, oscillating between different IDEs because one gets better and then the other one, and the switching costs are pretty minimal. But we're seeing 4x productivity in specific use cases. And again, we're able to be more complete and more thorough as well. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, organizations are embracing this technology to get those productivity gains.
Yeah.
But there are things that we need to be considering as we do that, and especially as we're security professionals thinking about securing the business.
Absolutely. When it comes down to this explosion and trying to secure the business, these people are adopting so quickly with AI used to create apps, the systems that we're already using. You name some great examples. I know I'm also using Gemini, Notebook LM. It seems like everybody hasn't cracked it yet. We have to bundle it with a different bunch of codes. We've got vibe coding, which is seems to be the talk du jour. You've even been doing some vibe coding yourself too. So these are all great examples of kind of the backdrop of what's happening. But what are some of the problems that are being introduced now with this new normal that we seem to be embracing?
Yeah, and actually, you mentioned vibe coding, so that's actually a good way of classifying kind of like one of the problems that people face. So really, if you
Sure.
can break down the use of AI and where it represents risks to the organization,
Okay.
one is in the use of AI to generate code, right, or generate applications, and then
Yep.
the other is in the use of AI within those applications. Okay, now there are risks on both of these sides, and risks that can be managed as well. So let's just touch upon that first one of using AI to generate code, because that's what most people think about first when they think about AI. They think about they've been using ChatGPT to write birthday card messages or something. Right? That's what I use it for. So you're using that in your life, so you're like, okay, well, now we can use it for development, and
Yeah.
what's all of the risk of that? So a few things. So first of all, you mentioned vibe coding, right?
Yep.
Vibe coding in essence is writing code through natural language, right? I am prompting an LLM what I want it to achieve, what the goals are that I want to achieve, and then it generates me code. Now, that means that it's opened up code or code generation or application creation to a whole raft of people that previously couldn't. Those people
Yeah.
like myself that were a programmer, and now I'm writing code again for the first time in 10 years. Probably shouldn't be writing production code, but writing things
Yeah.
for you guys on the marketing side to kind of help move things forward. It's very quick now. It's very quick and enabling. It's also enabling those which are not coders at all. You can prompt it, it'll create something for you. You can even deploy through natural language and get it out there. So that's the kind of really what vibe coding is all about, and most of the people leveraging it. I will also say though that vibe coding can be leveraged within professional development as well.
Okay.
That used in conjunction with things like Claude Code, where we'll give it prompts, we'll give it user stories, we'll define plans, we'll generate code, we'll review the plans, we'll review the code. That's what we're doing here at ArmorCode to help with, as I said before, both completeness, but also helping with velocity. The risk
Oh, yeah.
that introduces really breaks down into a few areas.
Okay.
Firstly, is that code has got poor quality or poor security within it. Now, this is, in my mind, a relatively temporary thing. What happens is we've already seen the quality of code that's generated by the LLMs proved to be much, much better than it was a couple of years ago. Security posture, the security quality, or like the amount of security problems that are introduced, still is around the
Yeah.
same, but that's going to follow the same curve. As the LLMs get better, as they're trained on more and more real world code, best practices, as we
Yeah.
start integrating testing into the loop, so LLM generates some code, runs it through a tester gives it feedback, it changes the code before it's even submitted, means that your
Yeah.
total volume of code is going to, or should I say, total volume of vulnerabilities is going to drop. However,
Right.
the volume of code and the volume of applications is still high. So what this
Yeah.
means is you've got an increasing attack surface, you've got more applications with more code, and the one thing that the LLMs are still not very good at is they will introduce a lot of code bloat into the system. They'll actually bring
Yeah.
in a way too complicated of a solution. Sometimes they'll actually
Yeah.
not get rid of code that's not being used, so you end
Yep.
up with more attack surfaces embedded in the application. So
Wow.
on that side of code generation, the
Yeah.
current focus is very much on finding code problems. Great, we have static analysis already today. We have a number of different techniques. We can put a feedback loop in there. The problem
Sure.
that we should be thinking about is the increased attack surface that all of those applications represent. So that's
Yeah.
one side. Okay, that's the
Okay.
generated code and apps. The other is the actual embedding of AI into the applications that I'm developing. So I want to use a model within my code so I can deliver functionality to the market.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that that model is safe, it's secure, it's of high quality. I need to protect that model to make sure that
Yep.
I don't have things like prompt injection or data poisoning
Oh.
or something like that.
Yep.
I also need to manage it, though, in a very similar way that I manage open source libraries. I need to get a reputation score for it. So when I'm pulling a Hugging Face model for example, I want to know, is that clean? Is it of high quality? What's the provenance of it? And all of that data is very, very similar to what we've been doing with software supply chain and bill of materials as well. So these are the two
Okay.
challenges that you
Yeah.
face. Code that's being generated, is it clean?
Yeah.
Does it have security issues in it? Am I able to
Yeah.
keep up with the velocity that the
Oh.
engineering team are now delivering to me?
Yep.
And then the other side is what I'm embedding safe and secure.
Yeah. You're probably also thinking about, like, with all this, like vibe coding, professionally, or for laypersons, you don't know the owners. It could, this velocity really doesn't have any oversight, so it's got to be tough to keep up with all that. So having said that, what can folks do? How could you actually solve this problem? How could ArmorCode help?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I mean, fundamentally, it comes down to visibility, right? If you don't know
Sure.
something, you can't act. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if I think about that first problem of AI generated code, of course, we want to make sure we've got the very standard security controls in place. Things like software composition analysis, SAST, scanning, static application security testing, secrets testing. We need to
Hmm.
be running those standard controls on code, whether or not it's generated by AI or whether it's generated by humans. So if you're already doing that,
Yeah.
great. We're one step
Yeah.
ahead. If you
Sure.
don't have those in place, you need to start doing them. Okay,
Yeah.
leveraging AI is not going to improve the security quality of the code. You're going to end up with vulnerabilities that need to be addressed. Okay, the
Makes
next
sense.
thing that you need to do is you need to have visibility into what applications are being built. This is also where leveraging code repositories, leveraging attack surface management technologies, things which can detect applications that are running on your network.
Yep.
This is data that can help you understand your attack surface, that something exists, that you can ensure that you're putting the controls in place. And then last, actually looking at the code repositories themselves to
Oh.
understand if you can identify if AI has been used in that process, right? So
Yep.
looking for code commits that are have fingerprints inside them, that something like a V0 was leveraged to create the code base,
Hmm.
or even looking at the code commit itself, the volume, the structure of the code commit can also give you some ideas as to that. Yeah, this is potentially leveraged by AI, so we need to provide better security controls in place. So that is all
Yeah.
of the data. You now
Yep.
need to bring it all together in one place. And
Mm.
that's where you're leveraging an ASPM solution like ArmorCode is key to ensuring that you can get that attack surface of your applications, not necessarily the generated code, it's the application that's important, but
Yeah.
get the attack surface of the application under control, visibility, governance
Yeah.
in place, making sure that when you have a 0 day that happens in a library that's being leveraged, you know where that exists in the applications, and then
Yeah.
you can initiate your AI to immediately help with the remediation efforts. So
Okay.
that first problem is the productivity from leveraging application AI to generate the code.
Yeah.
Remember, the other problem though was actually what's going on when my code leverages AI inside of it. And
Yep.
again, this is where things like that code inspection that I referenced before, so ArmorCode's Code Insights, this gives
Yep.
us the ability to identify code commits that are material change code changes, which introduction of an MCP server, for example,
Sure.
would
Yep.
indicate that we're leveraging AI inside of this code base, where as we're now hooking in with an MCP. We would
Hmm.
also be able to flag and identify use of other AI frameworks. We could identify Hugging Face, for example, and then providing that visibility of where AI is being used within your system, so you can make sure that you have the AI security controls in place. So the same
Yeah.
way as if I know that a code base is introducing an API, I want to make sure I have API security in place. If I'm using I want to make sure that I have my AI security checks in place as well. And again,
Yeah.
this is just additional metadata and additional context so that I bring it all together into one system. I can then also start managing my models the same way as I said earlier, as I would manage software composition analysis data around SBOMs. So in the
Yeah.
same way I have a bill of materials, which is open source libraries, I'm
Yep.
in essence going to have a bill of materials, which are the AI models that are being used. And I will have, in the same way that I have threat intelligence or I have quality metrics associated with those open source libraries, I have the same thing for my AI models as well. So a lot of providers will stop providing you that. There's actually even a lot of open source data already for these
Yeah.
models too. So really
I love it.
bringing that use of AI into a standard process so that you can take all of the advantages of it
Yep.
without introducing another attack surface and another area of risk into the organization.
That's amazing. That runs the gamut. You're talking about a platform that can be able to bring in this cross-tool correlation, cloud to code correlation. You're talking about actually attributing changes and who made them and knowing it, regardless if it was human or AI generated. And then also, even being as granular as finding the hidden assets that might be in your repos. Again, whether it's human or AI generated. That sounds pretty powerful to me. Any last words, Mark, on this topic?
Well, what I would also point out is, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, great, I understand that, but how can I engage to find, think about this more, or talk to my
Yeah, to
peers?
get involved. Yeah.
Yeah, get involved, exactly. So the
Yeah.
Purple Book community is
Mhm.
the community that we support. That's a whole bunch of cybersecurity peers talking about different topics within the software security space. There have been talk tracks on application security maturity, software supply chain, things like that. There's a center of excellence orientated on adoption of AI and how organizations can safely adopt AI. So that's where I'd recommend checking out the Purple Book community, apply to join the community, join the Center of Excellence, check out the podcast that they do over there.
Yeah.
I think that will be a great place to start. This is a really hot topic in the industry right now, and it's only
Sure is.
getting more as more people are saying, all right, we're ready to start seeing these productivity gains that everybody else is seeing. How can we take advantage of that within our organization in a safe way?
I think that's perfect. I'll also add that we'll pair the link in the description for this podcast so folks can get access to those resources, as well as a white paper that we crafted on these AI generated code risks within apps and code. Encourage you folks to check that out. Mark, thanks again. Always great seeing you. Have a
Great.
good rest of the day, folks.